This episode of the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour is sponsored by the law offices of Alfred Guillaume III, a boutique criminal defense firm located in Washington, D.C. The firm specializes in defending federal criminal cases. You can learn more about the firm by visiting our website at guillaumelaw.com. That's GUILLAUME law.com. Welcome to part 2 of my interview with the chairman of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, Mr. Willie Phillips. Just because he's jetting across the globe, meeting with important people, doesn't mean he doesn't love hip-hop. Willie and I discuss his love of hip-hop music, we reminisce about our favorite hip-hop songs, and we also talk about who the biggest hip-hop head in his household really is. As an added bonus, we break down some of our favorite R&B and soul music. Enjoy. Now, you know this is the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour.
Yes, sir.
And we can't let you leave without talking about hip hop, specifically your taste in hip hop. But I have to tell everyone who, of course, doesn't know this, something first. Before you answer any questions, that the biggest hip hop person in your house is not you. It's your wife.
This is true. This is true. Gabrielle is the true hip hop head.
Matter of fact, shout out to Gabrielle Ginger. Check her out online, GabrielleGinger.com, with her beautiful accessories and handbags and whatnot.
Man, yeah, that's awesome.
She is a hardcore hip hop head.
Yes, yes.
So, you know, I know you love hip hop, but I'm going to give mad respect to your wife first.
Yes.
Before I ask you these questions. So, your favorite hip hop artist, who is it?
Artist. So can it be a group?
It can be a group.
It's Outkast.
It's Outkast.
Hands down. Hands down.
Of course it is.
Of course.
And let me just say that
Pronounced Outkast.
I don't disagree with your selection as far as group. Now, is it my favorite group? I don't know, but it's in my top 3.
100%.
So speaking of that, I'm gonna kind of pivot to some comparisons and just to see who you prefer over someone else.
Oh, this is fun.
Okay, so let me say 2 artists. You tell me which one you prefer: T.I. or Young Jeezy.
Oh, man, that's tough. I got to go with the Snowman.
And for those who don't know, who's the Snowman?
That's Jeezy.
Okay,
That's Jeezy.
Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Lamar.
Jay-Z or Nas?
Oh man, I don't know if I could make that choice.
Really?
No, I think that both of them have matured so much. They are the 2 artists, I'd say, who have aged the best throughout our lifetime, and they're both kings. You know, King's Disease is probably one of the best albums out of the last 5 years.
And that's Nas's album, 2, 3, at this point, 3 albums ago, I believe.
Right.
Now.
He had a King Disease too.
Right.
But then, 444 with Jay-Z is I still rock it in my car.
Well, let me just tell you, it's so crazy that we didn't, off camera, you asked me what I'm going to ask you about music. I didn't tell you because I wanted your raw reaction. But it's so crazy that you said those 2 albums, specifically 444 by Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Because, as one can guess, you're not 25. You are 40 plus. So
That's right.
Reveal your age.
It's not secret.
Right. And that album to me, 444, was, as a grown man, probably the most important hip hop album of all time.
Yeah. It's up there. It's up there.
The things that he's talking about, wealth and family and love his wife.
We're there. We're
That's
right
us
there.
right now.
We're right there. But also, I think, Ultra Black
on the
King's
Nas album.
Oh man, that's a gem.
It is a
That's
gem.
just a gem.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite track off the record. And you told me about that album. I didn't, and I consider myself Nas at one.
I put you on.
You did. I'm the hip hop lawyer, but you put me on to that Nas, to that song, and to that album in general, because I didn't even know it came out.
Yeah.
And you're like, you hear that new Nas album? I said, what new Nas album?
I can't choose.
So 1 and 1 for Jay-Z and Nas.
Yeah.
Now, one of the memories that I have of you in law school, well, as we went to law school in Washington, D.C., and The club scene was pretty awesome back then.
It was great.
But there was a song that was in heavy rotation in the club at that time, and you loved it. I don't know if you can remember the song I'm talking about. Your name is mentioned in it. That's just a hint. Your name is mentioned in it, and maybe the first line of the song.
Man, I'm trying to.
I'm gonna tell you, it's been a while.
Give me a hint.
The artist is that will just tell you who it is. It's LL Cool J.
Oh yeah,
Headsprung. Call me Big Willie.
Big.
Correct.
Come on, man.
Before
you tell me that song still does not bang.
It's a great song, but you're also the chair of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
Yeah, I am a complete person.
You are a complete person. You're a human being. You're technically Big Willie. I mean, you used to say that lyric so much.
They call me
Big Willie.
Hey.
So shout out to LL Cool J and Headsprung.
No doubt.
That was in heavy rotation back in the day.
I'm gonna throw one out there for you, Alfred.
Going out.
If we really just ranking, for me, if it's about MCs,
go ahead, give them to me.
I gotta say something about Rakim, man.
Rakim, okay.
Rakim.
Is he your number one of all time?
I mean, my number one of all time probably Scarface.
Okay,
Geto
Southern
Boys.
rap. Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
And being in DC, apparently it's a thing with people from DC that Scarface is like the number one guy. I'm not from DC, neither are you, but the fact that you said Scarface.
Hey, man, he's your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
Right. I mean, Scarface is awesome, but I don't think he's not in my personal top 5.
All right. Okay. All right. So, I mean, at this point, you have a podcast. I'm gonna interview you for a minute. So you have to have given your top. Who's your top?
Top MC of all time?
All time.
And this is gonna be controversial.
I like it.
But I'm gonna say Lauryn Hill.
Oh, L Boogie.
L Boogie.
All right, man. All right. I respect that.
Lauryn Hill, for reasons which I have not been able to record yet on the podcast, but shout out to my future episode about Lauryn Hill.
Okay. Tease it out. I like it.
But I want to argue that her solo work as an artist, she only had one album as an artist. Well, she had an unplugged album, which if you technically count that, counts with 2. Is so important for the culture. It's so important for hip hop. And some people don't even consider it a hip hop album, that it's transcends all of that.
I hadn't thought of that, but I have to tip my hat to it. No, I think you're right.
Yeah, Lauryn Hill is the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, specifically that her first and only album, to me ranks up there with Thriller by Michael Jackson, the Beatles, Abbey Road, or some of the all-time great albums that you want to talk about, no matter what the genre is.
You can't argue. Can't argue with that.
Right. So that's my one, and your one is Scarface. So let me hit 2, 3, 4, and 5. My good friend.
Okay. All right. You were ready.
No, before you. I'm asking you, not me.
Oh.
Give me 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Man, this is
on the spot, so you haven't had time to think about
and
this.
It's tougher than you think.
It's extremely difficult.
Right. Let me just put a couple of them out there. I think you have, like I said, Rakim's in there.
Right.
I think Nas is in there.
Of course, Nas.
Jay-Z's in there.
So it's all New York. A Southern boy is going all New York.
I did put Scarface in there.
Right. But that was.
And then I put 3,000.
Andre is very important.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean that's a pick that only a hip hop head would make. So I respect that pick because
I remember it was 1996, the big lick for 96, and when you heard Outkast on the radio, or if you were lucky enough to get the tape, right, you was like, I hear me, I hear my cousins, I hear my uncles through this music.
Especially
and
for that first album.
It touched you. Southern
Playalistic, Cadillac funky music. Yeah, man, 1994, Outkast's first album.
That's right.
96 is AT Aliens.
That's right. I had the year off. But look,
they were still playing 1996. They were still playing from the first album.
Oh man, radio. It touched you deeply. It really did.
Yeah, the first time I heard Outkast was at Xavier University. I was in a summer program at Xavier University in New Orleans, Louisiana, my alma mater. 1994, the summer of 94, this guy from Atlanta named Kareem what Kareem, wherever you are, thank you, my brother, because he put me on this group, and I never heard of him, never knew nothing about him, but he had the CD, that first CD, and man, when I tell you, the first time I heard that, I literally pooped my pants. I literally pooped my pants. It was amazing.
It was that good. You know, my man Marquise put me on. We was in high school together. We're riding to school, and he put it. Man, it was over.
Yeah, Outkast is. I don't want to say they're underrated because I feel like they're not, but they don't get the credit they deserve.
No, at least not if you're from where we're from.
Right, but I mean, I think I will admit, East Coast biased.
Yeah,
but Outkast, there's no East Coast duo that can come close to Outkast.
Can I do some honorable mentions?
Of course.
I got to say something about Tupac and Biggie. It was just throughout our college years, throughout law school, it was just too important.
Right.
Not to say something about them. And because my wife is a true hip hop head,
she is.
I got to say something about Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang. As a matter of fact, forever. You and I and our wives, we went to a Method Man, Redman concert.
That's right. That's right.
Inspector Deck made a guest appearance. Shout out Inspector Deck. Shout out Jizza, RZA, Wu-Tang, Ghostface Killer. Those are my guys. Now, if we talking all groups, I separate them out.
Okay. Let's do groups. You do groups.
Okay. Well, groups, pretty easy. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really thought about this, actually. I wasn't expecting that question, but I'm going to go. I know 3 off the rip.
Do 3. 3 is easier.
Tribe, Wu, Outkast.
Wow.
And not necessarily in that order. I think the order fluctuates. And actually, I know enough. I can, Tribe, Wu, Outkast, Roots for me. And then it becomes a little more difficult to get to that 5th spot. What did I say? Tribe, Wu, Outkast, Roots. Yeah, okay. I went to law school, not math school. So
I was told there would be no math.
Right. Correct. It comes. I mean, I don't know who gets the 5th spot. Mobb Deep is I'm a huge fan of Mobb Deep.
Good.
Fugees though actually just kicked Mobb Deep out as soon as I thought about it. Well, Fugees is on the list, so there you go. Those are the top 5. I can't think of anyone else at the top of my head, but
that's a hard 5 to beat. That's a hard 5.
It's kind of impossible.
Yeah,
actually. I mean, the first. So, what's the first tape, record, album that you bought when you were young?
I mean, if we talking hip hop only, I do like myself some R&B.
I know you do, and we can get into that too.
No, I mean,
as do I.
Jodeci was the first album.
That's the first album you ever had. That's 1991. That was the first Jodeci album.
Yeah, for sure. Forever My Lady.
Forever My Lady. Yeah, that's a great album.
Yeah. But I mean, the first actually before that, Geto Boys. Geto Boys.
So Geto Boys, that first album, I think it was 87, 88, somewhere. Maybe
you have a mind better than mine on
something
that.
Like that. I had that album too. Mind Playing Tricks on Me. That's a great. I don't even know. I can't remember the name of They had an album before that.
They did. I'm trying to think of the name of it because I had it too. I mean, I was hooked.
Right.
I was hooked. Hiding it from my mama though.
Right. Yes. I said in another interview that my parents had no idea what was going on.
They had no clue. It actually gives me a little bit of pause right now because
especially a good Southern boy from Atlanta listening to this music.
Right.
But hey, I'm from New Orleans, so we were used to kind of like the rebellious, raunchy stuff anyway.
Man, I'm be honest with you too. Like Rap City, all of that stuff on MTV exposed me to music outside of our culture.
Right.
So Slick Rick,
right,
was huge.
Love Slick Rick. I saw him in concert as well. At Howard Theater. Shout out to Howard Theater. Shout out Slick Rick. Yep. One of the true pioneers of the genre. And Slick Rick, when I saw him in concert, this brother doesn't move. He literally stands there and just sways back and forth, and you loving every minute of it.
Every minute. I never seen him.
Rakim as well. I saw Rakim and Slick Rick at the same show. They headlined it together. So shout out to Howard Theater, DC. It was awesome. So the Geto Boys was a huge influence on you. These other groups, when you were in college and even in law school, you still followed, and now you are all the way grown up with a very important job. And most people may not think that someone in your position listens to this type of music.
Everybody's a complete person, and for me, when I'm on my way to work, especially the weather's nice, open the top, bring the windows down. I'm gonna play my music.
What's playing
this morning? Going in Keith Murray.
Keith
most
Murray.
beautifulest thing in this world.
Shout out to
Just
Keith
like
Murray.
that. That's
Shout out
great.
the saxophone remix. Did you hear? Have you ever heard the saxophone remix of that
I
song?
don't know if I've ever heard of it.
Before you leave, when we
Okay.
cut the mics off, I gotta put that on.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's do it. That is probably one of my favorite all-time songs.
That was also 1994. It might have been 93. I can't remember. 93, 94. I bought that single. I never bought a single Keith Murray album in my life.
No.
Sorry, Keith Murray. But I did buy that single. That was an amazing, amazing song.
That's what I rock going to work this morning.
So before you leave, I want to just touch on one more thing. You mentioned R&B. Now I know you love you some R&B, as do I. But let's do top 5 R&B real quick.
Oh man, that's significantly more difficult.
It's so hard. People don't even realize how hard that is.
I mean, are we talking what are we talking?
I don't know, right? Because we have a whole lot of territory to cover.
Oh man, I mean, if we do,
we can go from 1960.
That's what I'm saying.
All the way to now.
Are we classic? Are we like
whatever you like? Who do you like?
Are we like New Jack? I mean,
whatever you like.
All right.
I won't hold you to it. Just who do you like? It's hard to rank.
It's hard to rank. All right, let me just throw 5 out there.
Okay.
All right, we talking mixing it up. Jodeci's in there.
Jodeci.
All right. Luther,
of course.
Vandross.
I mean, let me say, before you even go any further, can I say something about Luther? Luther, if you ever heard him live or even on a show, I remember hearing him on the Arsenio Hall show when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds exactly like he does on the record, which is impossible.
It's amazing.
The brother had such a beautiful voice. Gone too soon. But just, I mean, Luther Vandross is rest in peace, man. He was amazing.
Great talent.
I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. I mean,
Jodeci, Luther.
If we're not boxing it in,
no, we're not boxing it in.
Al Green,
another amazing voice,
foundation,
and funky.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Without being funky.
Where do I go from there?
It's hard, man. It's so hard. And a great body of work that he had as well.
I mean, I think without just throwing a bunch of stuff in there, just to feel those would be the ones that are.
Those are the top 3 that come to your mind
that are jumping out at me.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you who jumps out at me. First and foremost, Anita Baker.
Oh man, see.
Yeah, I know it's okay. You're not gonna remember everything. But Anita Baker, let me just go on record as saying the Anita Baker Rapture album is probably one of the best R&B albums of all time.
It's so beautiful.
Anita Baker Rapture. I heard Anita Baker sing a cappella one time. Changed my life.
It's awesome.
A cappella. Anita Baker is amazing. Shout out to the queen, Anita Baker. Anita Baker, next we're going to go with Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, yeah.
Love. Teddy Pendergrass, yes. And the last, I'm gonna go my top. It's not my top 3 necessarily, but
let's hear it.
It's what pops in my mind. Stephanie Mills.
Oh,
Stephanie Mills is so underrated. People talk about Whitney Houston's voice.
I was gonna go Whitney,
right, and who I love, and how it's so effortless and flawless and beautiful. But Whitney Houston had good production. She had Clive Davis backing. She had industry backing, and she achieved success. Stephanie Mills didn't have that. If you want to hear Stephanie Mills, I'm just gonna anybody who doesn't know who she is,
you're gonna have to play some.
Right.
You gotta.
I will play some, but I want you to check out "Home" on the Wiz soundtrack, on the Wiz, the Broadway version, Stephanie Mills, and you tell me that you don't have goosebumps, and just after that song, you don't need to listen to this podcast anymore.
And I just gotta mention,
of course,
the king of pop,
the king.
Michael Jackson.
MJ.
And I'm going to tell you something. Janet Jackson is underrated, too.
Janet Jackson is underrated. So I asked another friend of mine recently, who you got, Janet Jackson or Beyonce? Who you going with?
Man, you ain't going to get the hive after me, man. Queen B, baby. I'm with the queen.
There is no queen without Janet. But look, is Beyonce a bigger superstar? Absolutely.
I've seen Beyonce live at FedEx Field with Jay-Z up close. Man.
Not like nothing else. Huh?
Oh, man. I mean, it's something.
A performance.
She leaves it all on the field.
It's something to be said for someone who is a performer, because that's different from being a good singer or a good artist.
We can argue that. That's different. But you saying like
a performer.
She is one of the greatest talents of our generation.
And I would argue that she is she's the Madonna of this generation. She's kind of a hybrid of Madonna, Diana Ross, all kind of rolled into one. She's awesome. Now, people quibble about her voice not being as good as some of the other people, but I think she's amazing. But I think she's most closely resembled to, from our generation, to Janet. Like Janet set the blueprint for her with the performance aspect, especially.
That's right.
Because Janet's a performer.
Oh man,
I saw Janet Jackson in concert in I think 1992. I want to say, can't remember exactly the year, but
that was a great album.
Yes.
So look, man, before we get out of here, can I just say a couple things?
Absolutely, please do.
I just want to say, man, like what you've been able to do, your sustained success with your practice. I think I come to you over and over. I bounce my ideas off of you. You give
appreciate that, my
me,
brother.
you allow me to vet and to just quite frankly, whatever important move I'm about to make, I'm running by you first, and I appreciate that, man. Your judgment is sound. I'm so proud of this podcast, man. I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you again, my brother, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come see your old and good and steady friend. Shout out to your wife, your beautiful family, and we will be together soon, overseas in some fabulous location very soon.
Coming soon. Thank you, man.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. Please continue to follow the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel at the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour for additional content and videos. See you next time. I'll catch you on the B-side.